She was our age, and it's just scary because that could have been any one of us. And she was an angel, and I know that now she's with God.
I think
She went and killed the girl Cats.
Okay.
A girl went to court and charged her with extreme witchcraft.
For years, folks been asking the same question. How does Beyonce still look the same after all these years? Same energy, glow, and stage power like time ain't even touching her. Most people chalk it up to talent, discipline, and good genes. But now, a former insider is telling a very different story. Word is, someone who once moved in those spiritual circles is claiming the secret behind Queen Bey's timeless image might involve rituals, strange preparations before shows, and something she calls Sasha. And if even a piece of that story is true, then the real question becomes, is Beyonce's power on stage just performance, or is there something deeper going on behind the curtain? Now, before we go any further, let's get one thing straight. I'm not stating none of this as facts, just reporting what the street is saying, so don't come for me. For years, there have been quiet whispers about what happens before Beyonce steps on stage. Not the rehearsals or choreography, but the preparation. Word in certain entertainment circles says Queen Bey has very specific routines before performances. Candles in dressing rooms, closed-door preparation sessions, strange formations used in choreography that some people swear resemble symbols. Now, most fans brush that off as creative stage design. And to be fair, Beyonce is known for being extremely intentional with visuals and artistic direction. But some people who claim to have worked around the tour environment say the vibe sometimes felt different. According to stories shared online, certain preparation moments involve candles burning, chanting sounds, and formations built around circles and star-like patterns on stage. But here's where things start getting uncomfortable, because some conspiracy discussions claim that Beyonce's famous alter ego, Sasha Fierce, might represent more than just a performance persona. Some fans always thought Sasha was simply a stage character, a way for Beyonce to separate her personal life from the intense energy of performing. But in certain corners of the internet, people have long speculated that Sasha represents something deeper, energy, a persona, or something spiritual tied to performance. And her performance at times comes off as demon-possessed, allegedly. And trust the online community went wild. One dude hit hard saying she has a whole different entity living inside of her. I've noticed that before she even admitted it. Her energy different when she on scene. Another wrote something dark about her. I never meet someone who doesn't invest time speaking with their fans. She seemed more innocent when she was in the group shaking my head. Now, that might sound crazy until you remember what happened in 2018. Back in September 2018, a drummer who had worked with Beyonce for 7 years suddenly filed legal documents that shocked the industry. Her name was Kimberly Thompson, and the accusations she made were wild. According to court filings, Kimberly claimed Beyonce had been using extreme witchcraft and dark magic against her. She accused the singer of placing spells, controlling her finances, tapping her phone, and orchestrating harassment that made it impossible for her to work. Now, let's be clear. Kimberly attempted to get a temporary restraining order, and the judge denied the request. The case was later dismissed when Thompson failed to appear for a hearing, allegedly after being threatened behind the scenes.
I think
She went and killed the girl Cats.
Okay.
A girl went to court and charged her with extreme witchcraft. She was hypnotized. She was drunk. Beyonce came and she was in there eating on her and while she was asleep. You know, snacking on his people cats. And guess what? They wouldn't give her the restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too. Which is interesting because she's a brilliant musician and she was trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music. Handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington. Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington.
The case dismissed, but the story didn't disappear because people started asking a different question. If someone worked that closely with Beyonce for 7 years, why would they suddenly risk their entire reputation making claims like that? And here's the other strange part. After leaving Beyonce's camp, Kimberly reportedly struggled to find steady gigs in the industry. Some folks say that's just how the music business works. Others think it looked a lot like someone powerful pulling strings behind the scenes. But the internet didn't stop there because fans started digging up an old comment that suddenly felt a lot creepier in hindsight. Years ago, a fan posted something online that most people laughed off at the time. The The comment claimed that during a Beyonce concert, they saw what they described as vampire-like figures moving through the crowd.
I really think I saw a vampire at the Beyonce concert. I was at night 4 in Atlanta, and I love Beyonce. Like, I go to all her concerts. This is probably like my 5th or 6th Beyonce concert, and I never experienced anything like this. So the vibes were amazing. Like, we were having a great time. Everything was great up until the end when I started getting like this eerie feeling. And I was just like, you need to go. And I always leave concerts early because ain't nobody trying to get caught up in that mess, like trying to get an Uber, waiting hours, none of that stuff. So I'm walking down the stairs. I had to walk down a flight of stairs because I was like 100 level. I was in the suites. So I had to like walk down a flight of stairs, and I'm walking down the stairs, and this guy is walking up the stairs. He's by himself. He's like wearing like, obviously like the Beyonce cowboy giddy up type of outfit. I look him dead in his eyes and I smile because I'm always smiling at people, right? And he looks me dead in my eyes. He gives me like the most eerie smile I've ever seen, and his eyes turn red. And then I freeze, and then he keeps walking, and then I look back at him and he's gone. Like, he disappeared, like, and literally like he just disappeared out of nowhere.
Of course, people mocked it, called the fan crazy, said it was seeking attention. But once the ritual rumors and the drummer lawsuit started circulating again, that comment resurfaced. And suddenly, folks started asking, what if the fan wasn't talking literally? What if they were describing the energy of the crowd? Because if you've ever seen Beyonce perform live, you already know something about those shows feels almost spiritual. Fans cry, people faint, crowds scream like they're witnessing something bigger than a concert. And that brings us to another part of the story people can't ignore, Jay-Z. When people talk about Beyonce, it's impossible to ignore the man standing right beside her, Jay-Z, one of the most powerful figures the music industry has ever produced. Together, they've built an empire worth billions. But once you start looking at the people connected to this circle, certain tragedies start coming back into conversation. One of the biggest names in that conversation, Aaliyah. For years, rumors have circulated online suggesting Jay-Z once had interest in the late R&B singer Aaliyah. According to some industry chatter, she allegedly rejected him.
He was very, very, very right there. She didn't want that. She didn't want that with him. And if there's one thing I can tell you about Sean Carter, being embarrassed and being rejected are things he does not handle well.
Now, that alone wouldn't mean anything, but conspiracy discussions on the internet have long questioned the circumstances surrounding Aaliyah's tragic plane crash in 2001. Officially, the crash was ruled an accident, but many have speculated there may have been industry politics behind the scenes, accused Beyonce had a lot to benefit from Aaliyah exiting the music scenes.
Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane, to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling.
She was our age, and it's just scary because that could have been any one of us. And she was an angel, and I know that now she's with God.
Again, there is no proof of that, but the fact that the rumors still circulate today shows how deeply people question what happens behind the curtain of fame and trust the internet been loud. One user wrote, Bey benefited the most from her not being here. Another said, she knows exactly what happened and she knows exactly who did it. The smile on her face and the way they are all stood, disgusting. Even through camera lens, you can feel the vibe is not genuine, wrote another fan. And that's not the only mysterious death people linked to this conversation. Another name that keeps popping up is Pimp C. Pimp C was never known for staying quiet. The legendary rapper openly criticized several powerful figures in the industry, including Jay-Z.
That's right. So I immediately picked up the phone and called Pimp C, because all I was trying to get was 100,000. When Dame cut that million, I called Pimp on the phone like, yo, Pimp, and him and Jamal was in the house. And I could hear a tussle or some type of confrontation, right? And I'm like, calm down, bro. Y'all calm down, Pimp.
I ran up the cable bill.
They was fighting. Okay, they was fighting like hard. And I'm like, Pimp, stop whatever you doing right now. I told you what's going down with Jamal when you moved him up in there. I said, but right now, I got $1 million check for you. All we want was 100,000. I was just like, who is that with? I said, with Rockefeller. He was like, what? I was like, yeah. He was like, I'm watching Dan with the checkbook, he writing out. He was like, ain't that with, over there with Jay-Z? I was like, yeah. He was like, man, tell him to take that check to go give it to Tupac Mama, man. He's gonna be stealing all my. I was like, what?
He was outspoken, fearless, and refused to play by the industry's rules. And according to stories told by people who knew him, Pimp C believed there were dark secrets operating behind the scenes in the music business. Now, here's where things get interesting. Rumors have circulated for years that Pimp C may have had access to a tape involving a major celebrity. Some people claim the tape allegedly involved Beyonce, but no one ever confirmed that publicly.
Who was in this Pimp C tape?
All I can tell you, there was a famous R&B chick, and it was a guy that was getting money at the time. And, you know, Pimp, he used to be in the studio. And every now and then he'd have a camcorder, so he was able to get some footage. And he wanted to do something with the footage, but I don't know why he didn't do nothing with it, but if I could have got a hold of that tape, I'd be a billionaire, man. I was, boy, hey, whoever it was, they had to kill me, man. I know TMZ would have paid a bank for that one, man. But yeah, it is a tape, and if you read the comments, a lot of people figured out. A lot of people figured out because, you know, people that was in Houston at the time, they know who was a little loose, you know, as a Montana goose. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they also know who was having money at the time. So it's not really hard to figure out.
Pimp C passed away in 2007 with the official cause listed as complications involving lean and sleep apnea. Still, some of his friends have said the situation around his death never felt fully explained.
Like, tell me something. Like, you know what I mean? And the most I could get was I never got if the door was locked and I just had to break it down. Because if the door wasn't locked, that means somebody left out.
Right.
If the door was locked, that means he felt good, he locked it, he was in there.
Right.
It's a whole different level of what happened. A lot of shit goes out the window if I just know that part.
Right.
But then it's like I heard some clothes on or something. I don't know. Like I don't really know if all this is true, but I just heard parts like, I'm like, what happened to my guy?
Right.
And then they come out with the official. It was a mixture of some stuff, the prescription and something else or something that I don't really know. But with me, I never really heard something that would give that closure for me. I never really heard anything.
Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough? You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston?
And once again, the internet started connecting dots, especially when Pimp C had been openly critical of Jay-Z before his passing. Coincidence? Maybe, but when you line up the stories people keep repeating, the same names keep appearing again and again. Jay-Z, Beyonce, and suddenly, the conversation becomes bigger than just rumors about rituals. It becomes a question about power. When you step back and look at the entire picture, you start seeing why the internet keeps revisiting these stories. First, the ritual rumors surrounding Beyonce's performances. Then the 2018 lawsuit from her former drummer accusing her of dark practices. Then the fan comments about strange energy at concerts. Then the industry insiders accusing Jay-Z and his circle of controlling powerful networks. Then the Aaliyah conspiracy discussions. Then the Pimp C mystery. Then the whispers about private gatherings involving some of the biggest names in music. Individually, each story might sound like coincidence, but together, they start forming a pattern people can't stop talking about, and that's why this conversation refuses to die. Now, the spotlight on you. Do you think all of these rumors are just wild internet conspiracies? Or do you believe there might actually be something deeper happening behind the scenes in the music industry? Is Beyonce simply a perfectionist performer with incredible stage presence? Or is there truth to the stories about rituals, hidden power circles, and secrets the public was never meant to see? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into the stories Hollywood doesn't like discussing, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe and click on that next video popping on your screen now.